I'm frustrated because my whole world got disheveled. And I feel like he has moved on, and he is healed and moved on and doesn't care about me, which I don't want him to come back into my life, but it still just sucks.
Girls are always told if the guy wanted to, he would. And yet you guys sit and you're like, she's never gonna like me, so I'm never gonna talk to her, and I'm never gonna ask her out, and I'm never gonna get to know her. And then we wonder why we're single.
I was a selfish bitch in my marriage. I've been divorced now almost 4 years, but I was married to my ex-husband 16 years and with him 18 years. And again, I was a selfish bitch. Nothing was ever good enough. I took him for granted.
Ladies, listen to me. Everything that men do is 100% intentional. Everything that a man does, he does it with intention. You guys are living in la la land.
Ladies, this one's gonna sting, but most of the time it is not men ruining relationships. It is women sabotaging themselves. But first, let me explain.
It is really lonely. The emptiness, the silence of his absence. Can you understand what that means? Can you understand what I'm trying to say when I say that? The silence of his absence is unbearable. Look at my eyes. My eye looks funny. Why do I get angry? I get angry because he's left. Because he's not here anymore. Because I'm alone. And it wasn't supposed to be this way. That's why I'm angry. It was not supposed to be this way. We had our future that we were planning, and I'm angry because I don't have that future anymore. I don't have anywhere. I don't know where to go. I don't know where my life is supposed to go now. I had a plan. We had a plan together, and now I don't have shit. Don't get me wrong, I have my kids, I love my kids, but my future was with him. My future was him and I together, side by side, in our golden years. That was my future, and that's what gets me angry. At what? I don't know, just that life, you know?
I understand the pain, but this is exactly why men are choosing independence. Your partner should add to your life, not become your entire life plan. Build your purpose, your finances, your friendships, your own future, so nobody's absence leaves you with nothing.
Girls are always told if the guy wanted to, he would. And yet you guys sit and you're like, she's never gonna like me, so I'm never gonna talk to her, and I'm never gonna ask her out, and I'm never gonna get to know her. And then we wonder why we're single. Look, girls are always told if the guy really likes you, he's going to make a move. And then you really like this girl, but you don't make a move. Okay? Yes, there's a potential of it going wrong, but you know what? If we don't try, nothing is ever going to happen. Okay? You can't sit and wait for something to happen. You have to go and you have to ask. And so if you're scared, know that, yeah, we're going to be scared, but in life, we're only scared of the things that truly matter to us, okay? So you're only scared because you care. And let's say it doesn't work out. There's going to be more people down the line, and each time you try, you're going to get better and better until you find the one that's right for you, and you'll really appreciate them because they really appreciate you. So if you like a girl, and if you want to, then you should ask her out.
If he wanted to, he would is such a terrible rule. Men can want a woman and still decide not to pursue her. Maybe he's protecting his peace, maybe he's reading the situation, or maybe he simply doesn't want the relationship. That's still a valid choice.
Please listen to me. Everything that men do is 100% intentional. Everything that a man does, he does it with intention. You guys are living in la la land. You guys have been watching Disney too much. I need you guys to wake up and smell the coffee. Everything that a man does is 100% intentional. Okay, so if he's not replying to you after so many hours, if he's taking hours to reply back to you, he knows what he's doing. If he hasn't spoken to you in weeks, he knows what he's doing. If he's texting you but not planning a date, he knows what he's doing. He has a plan, and that plan just means you're not in.
Men are in some secret society where every action has a hidden agenda. Sometimes a man is busy, distracted, uninterested, or simply living his life. The useful part of her message is simple: judge his consistency. If he's not making efforts, stop chasing and move.
I was a selfish bitch in my marriage. I've been divorced now almost 4 years, but I was married to my ex-husband 16 years and with him 18 years. And again, I was a selfish bitch. Nothing was ever good enough. I took him for granted. He seriously rolled out the red carpet for me. He was sweet, kind, generous. He told me how much he loved me 5 times a day. He told me how beautiful I was every day. If he'd wake me up in the morning, because he knows I love massages, wake me up rubbing my shoulders. He'd rub my feet every evening while we were watching TV. If I said, for example, oh, I'm craving a Dr. Pepper, he'd be like, okay, let me go to the corner store and get it. He adored me. He was amazing. Like, on paper, it's what every girl wants. Seriously. And yeah, I took it for granted. And now I lost that, right? And I carried a lot of guilt because I caused it. That's my biggest regret in life, is not saving, the whole family.
Admitted it herself. He gave her everything she said she wanted, and she still took him for granted. That's why men need standard stew. Don't spend years begging someone to appreciate you. Clears throat. If your effort is constantly taken for granted, walking away can be the healthiest decision you make.
The grass is not always greener on the other side, ladies. It's not, I'm good now. I feel great. And he's super happy with his girlfriend. And honestly, I could not be happier for him, because he deserved to be loved and cared about and respected, as he should have always been. So I'm so happy that he's happy. Anyways, what I'm saying, ladies, the grass is not greener on the other side. If you have a good guy, take care of him. Take care of him. Trust me, there's nothing good out in these streets. He seriously set the bar. He set the bar. And ultimately, what I always wanted, I had all along. So we have good right in front of us, and we don't know how to take care.
That's a lesson a lot of men learn the hard way too. Don't keep proving your worth to someone who takes you for granted. If someone genuinely values you, protect that relationship, and if they don't, let them go, because another person will eventually appreciate what you brought.
The biggest thing I've learned about men in all my years on this earth so far is to leave them alone. The only way he will learn, and the only way to get through to him, is to say nothing and to leave him alone. The more time you spend writing paragraphs, pleading with him, begging, crying, explaining your pain, trying to show him how he's hurt you and how he should treat you better, all of that time spent is wasted. It's a waste of your time, and it's a waste of your energy, because he does not hear any of that. All he hears and sees when you do that is, wow, she's not going anywhere, and she really cares about me, and she loves me. That's the only thing he sees and hears. So please do yourself a really, really big favor and stop siphoning your energy into trying to show that person how they've hurt you and what they've done wrong and how they should treat you better. Because if they were going to treat you better, then they would have. He will realize in his own time.
And this is why men respect boundaries more than endless pleading. You don't have to convince a man to value you. If he consistently chooses not to, stop negotiating and leave. No begging, no chasing, no emotional courtroom, just consequences.
Alright, this is part 3 of things I've come to understand about men as a 30-year-old woman. Again, this is not all men, but if anything, just use these as warning signs and recognize the patterns early on so you don't waste your time. If he shenanigans once, he will shenan again. Forgiving a man for treating you with disrespect, treating you poorly, does not make him love you or understand you more. It makes him learn that he can love you less and get away with it. Confusion is your answer. A man who wants you is not going to be inconsistent with you or leave you confused. If you are left confused, he doesn't like you like that, or he doesn't like you enough to make you a priority. And if you want to be that man's priority and he's leaving you confused, you are not that man's priority, and find someone who will make you a priority. Glancing is different than staring. Looking is different than lusting. Do not let men trick you into believing that they are visual creatures. This is what they have told and been conditioned by their parents and their fathers to believe is true, to justify and normalize them lusting and being.
The useful part is simple: pay attention to consistency. But this idea that every mistake means a man will repeat it forever is nonsense. People can mess up, take accountability, and change. Judge the pattern, not one imperfect moment.
Looking at other women, and women have been conditioned to accept that that is true about men, and that is simply not true. Honestly, it just indicates a lack of self-control or self-awareness, which are both two very unattractive qualities in any partner. A man who functions from ego is a man who lives by validation and dies by criticism. And basically what that means is he has no internal sense of self-worth or self-concept. He can't sit with his emotions and work through feelings of inadequacy. He has to seek out external validation, cheap validation, in order to feel good about himself, because he has no internal self-worth. Which means if you're to bring up your emotions, even if it's not a direct attack on him, it takes away his validation from you momentarily, because they're normal, healthy relationship issues. However, now he has no validation. That's his only way to feel worthy of anything, and he has to go seek out external, cheap, easily accessible validation.
This sounds deep, but it's a huge oversimplification. Not every man who notices an attractive woman lacks self-control, and not every man who enjoys validation has no self-worth. Men and women both appreciate attention. It becomes a problem only when it crosses boundaries or harms the relationship.
Get it from you again. Along that line, a man can be rich with money and bankrupt in character, and the things that are normally free in relationships, such as honesty, respect, communication, integrity, loyalty, will be too expensive for a man like that to afford. Instead, he will use trips, money, gifts, and say, haven't I given you all this stuff? Haven't I treated you well? But without realizing that they're just simply too broke to afford what actually equates to a good partner. And last but not least, men like to feel needed. Make them put in effort and they'll actually like you more. They want to work. They want to feel useful to you. So ask them to do things for you. A closed mouth does not get fed. Ask them to buy you something. Ask them to bring you something. Ask them to pick you up something, because psychologically, when you do a favor for someone, in your mind you think, I must like them for me to be doing this favor for them. So make use of them. Anyways, stay safe. Love you. Bye.
First point is fair money can't replace character, but telling women to make use of men is where it falls apart. A healthy relationship isn't about strategically creating favors so a man becomes attached. If you need something, communicate it and let him help because he genuinely wants to.
What happened to men being simps? Men just aren't simps anymore, and that's a problem. No wonder we have a male loneliness epidemic. You're not simps anymore. You all think you're Sigma. Meanwhile, you're not touching a woman. A woman's not even letting you look at her. It's because you're not a simp. Praise, worship, compliments, gifts, yearning. You gotta be obsessed with women. That's how you get them. Like, it's logic. You're listening to a stupid podcast where some guy is trying to sell you protein powder and he's saying, you can't be a simp. Yeah, you do. You can, and you should. We need more simps out here. That's how you get laid. It's not because you're chugging protein powder in your basement. It's because you're being a simp. That's what's gonna do it. You won't be lonely anymore. I guarantee it. Simp it up. It's just that simple.
Maybe men are finally realizing that chasing approval isn't a personality. If affection has to be purchased with worship gifts and endless validation, a man has every right to say no thanks. I'll keep my dignity. Advice I wish I could give to my younger self, part 15, and I'm going to end.
Advice I wish I could give to my younger self, part 15, and I'm going to end it with a bang. Leave these men alone. You can date, you can do whatever, but do not be one of those girls that is thinking about men 24/7. Get a hobby. Do something for yourself. Do something that is good for you, for yourself. There's more to life than thinking about a man. There is more to life than being someone's girlfriend. Who are you? What makes you happy? What makes you light up? Because if you are truly happy and you love yourself and you have self-worth, all of those things, that's when you'll attract a partner that actually deserves you. But if you're someone that's hurt, that's broken, that doesn't have that self-confidence, that doesn't have that self-respect, you are going to attract a narcissist. Okay? And that's not what we want. If you want me to keep going on with these videos, please comment, let me know. But for part 15, and I need to go eat dinner now.
Get your money right, your health right, your purpose right, and your peace right, because when you stop desperately needing someone to complete you, you stop accepting toxic behavior just to avoid being alone. That's not loneliness, that's freedom.
You haven't heard from him in 3 days, and now your brain is creating an entire documentary. He lost interest. I knew it. Something's wrong. He's talking to someone else. Pause and sit down. Do you see how none of those things came from him? They came from you. A man doesn't text you for 3 days and suddenly you're questioning your beauty, your worth, your value, your future, your desirability, whether you will be loved or not. Goddess, that is not dating. That is self-abandonment. Because the real question isn't, why hasn't he texted me? The real question is, why does his silence have more authority over your emotional state than your own relationship with yourself? Why does one person that you've barely known for a few weeks have the power to determine whether you feel insecure or secure? Because somewhere along the way, you learn to use other people to measure your worth. So now every delayed text feels like rejection. Every shift in energy feels like abandonment. Every moment of uncertainty feels like danger. And every moment of silence feels like you're being abandoned.
A man doesn't text for 3 days and suddenly you're questioning your beauty, your worth, and your entire future. That's not his responsibility to fix. If his silence bothers you that much, take the hint and walk away. Don't build your self-worth around a man who barely knows you.
And before you know it, you have stopped living your life and you started monitoring it. Monitoring his specifically. Checking, waiting, analyzing, obsessing, trying to find evidence that you are safe. But safety was never supposed to come from him, goddess. And here's the truth that nobody talks about. Healthy relationships require space. Healthy people have lives. Healthy men don't spend every waking second glued to their phone proving that they're interested. Sometimes they're working, sometimes they're with family. Sometimes they're building their future. Sometimes they're simply existing. And the woman who is secure enough to let a connection breathe often experiences a completely different relationship than the woman who's trying to control it. Because love grows in presence, but it also grows in absence. People need space to miss you, goddess. Space to think about you, space to wonder about you, space to choose you, space to check in to see how they're feeling, to see if they still want to continue to pursue this. Stop trying to force certainty where life is asking you to build your self-trust.
Funniest part is that some women demand space, independence, and freedom, then panic the second a man actually gives them space. A man doesn't have to text you all day to prove he's interested. If he wants you, his actions over time will show it. Until then, stop stalking the phone and go live your own life.
And that's exactly what I help you do inside the Feminine Reboot. Not getting him to text you more. It's about becoming a woman whose sense of self-worth doesn't rise or fall depending on a text. Because the moment someone's inconsistency can make you abandon yourself, that is the real problem. Not him, not the text, not the dating app. Relationship that you have built with yourself. Because a woman who knows how to stay connected to herself doesn't spend 3 days losing her mind because someone else disconnects. She spends 3 days living her life. And this is something that is chronically programmed into you, and this is your nervous system. This is your nervous system. This is why you know better and you don't do better. This is why you know the information but you still panic. This is why you have anxiety attack. This is why you have all these negative things, because it must be deconditioned out of you. You have to reteach your body how to feel safe, and that's exactly what I teach you how to do inside the Feminine Reboot. And I cannot wait to see you there. I hope this video helped. I hope it gave you clarity, and remember, you're a goddess. Act like it. I love you. Mwah. Bye.
You don't need a whole reboot program to understand that. Watch his actions, accept the answer, and keep living your life.
This one's gonna sting, but most of the time it is not men ruining relationships. It is women sabotaging themselves. But first, let me explain. First is the victim mindset. If every argument turns into poor me, look what you did to me, you're not resolving the conflict. You're dodging accountability. Second, attention addiction. If you need outside validation, likes, stares, DMs to feel secure, you'll never be happy with the man that you're with. Third, lack of self-worth. If you drag your unhealed trauma into a relationship but refuse to face it and deal with it, you're making your partner pay for damage that they did not cause. These aren't just little habits. They are relationship killers. They destroy trust, create resentment, and eventually push away the man or woman you claim to love. And the hard truth, a lot of women would rather blame men than admit that they're guilty of these patterns. So before you say men are the problem, ask yourself, am I sabotaging my own relationship? Try to ask yourself that. If you're brave enough to admit that, you will change everything. If not, you're gonna repeat the same cycle. Drop your take in the comments. I know this one.
She's actually making a point here. Accountability can't be one-sided. If every disagreement becomes look what you did to me, you're not fixing the relationship. Men can have toxic habits, but so can women, and pretending women never sabotage relationships isn't helping anybody anyway. That's enough for today. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, share, and stay tuned for the next.